Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 333, Post-Retreat Takeaways and Wisdoms. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I've been so excited to record this episode because there's just so much I want to share about the past 10 days. So I don't know if you all know this. If this is the first episode you're listening to, you're in for a treat. But a couple episodes ago, I had my client Suzanne Lewis on, who I've been working with for the past 4 years. She joined my 6-month Stop Over Drinking and Start Living coaching program back in 2021. And she went on to quit drinking and has been sober since. And we've been working together privately. And so she's just had so much growth, and just her life has completely changed. She, got sober. She met the love of her life. She sold her house. She up-leveled her business. And then I got to marry her and her partner in Lake Arrowhead, California, up in the mountains this past weekend. And it was such a important moment for me and for them. For me, it was just this whole journey of my life and helping somebody on the journey of their life and becoming clear on who they are and what they want and what really matters, and navigating difficult emotions and, expanding their comfort zones to attract the love of her life, who was also sober. Like these women walking down the aisle, and I'm at the altar, and they're both sober and they're both alive, and they're, in their early 70s, and they're just beginning their lives together. And it was really, really big. It was really emotional. It was exciting and beautiful. And I was nervous, and I was shaking a little bit in my delivery of the ceremony. And it had started raining, and the weather changed really abruptly, and it got cold, and there was drama around that. And, we didn't know if we should pull it inside or keep it outside, and just all of that buzz and excitement and uncertainty. And it just all was mixed together. And I'm standing up there at the altar, and I'm just like, what is happening? Where am I? What is going on? I can't believe this is where I am, that I'm having this moment in my life. It's surreal. It was surreal. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. And then delivering that ceremony for them, and them exchanging vows and the rings, and they're married, and it's just like, wow. And then hearing all the people share their stories of those two and them coming together, and what a miraculously universal alignment that it all was. It just was beautiful. And I'm so honored to do that for them, and to be brave enough to pitch them for it. They both came on a retreat of mine back in Seattle of last year, and I pitched them that I wanted to marry them, and they said yes. Like me being brave enough to do that, or being confident enough to do that, that is not who I was until I was 40 years old. Like my life, if I think about my childhood, I was the little kid hugging my mom's leg and peeking behind her leg. I was very shy, very timid. I hated strangers. I was just very quiet and very subdued. And then I think as I grew up into a teenager, that changed a little bit. But, I didn't want to ruffle feathers. And the fact that I'm here now and I'm 7 years alcohol free, like it still blows my mind that this is my life. Like, so I get to experience the magic of all of these sort of like big, surreal, full circle moments as like a newbie. And it does not get old, my friends. Like this journey that I've been on since finding coaching back in 2018, 7 years ago, my life is just in a totally different direction than it was headed in. I was so lost and so stuck, and I was just miserable, plugging away, living this life that I was living this life that I thought I should live, and it wasn't working. I was working full time in advertising. I had 3 very small children, 3 of them were in daycare at the time, very young, and it was stressful, and it was a lot to juggle and manage. I just felt like I was on Groundhog's Day all the time, and I just didn't know a way out of it. I was scared to leave my job because of the money. I was scared to undo things because, of all of our programming about what you should do. You go to college, you get married, you climb the career ladder, you have the kids, you buy the house, like all that stuff. And I did all those things and I wasn't happy. And I was drinking a lot, right? So like that was all weeded in there. I just didn't know who I was or like what my purpose was. And I found life coaching and it changed everything. And I got to explore myself and expand my discomfort zone and then go on to help other people do that, to up level their lives. And then, 7 years later, I'm marrying this couple, this beautiful, amazing couple that was brought together by this divine magic of the universe. Like, come on, come on. And then I, go on and I drive after, the day after the wedding, I drive down to Palm Springs and I lead a sober retreat for 7 other women that came in from all over the country. South Carolina, Florida, New York. I'm in North Carolina, Minnesota, Washington State, California, like literally from all corners of the United States came in to go on this sober retreat, the sober sanctuary in the desert retreat with me in Palm Springs. And it was remarkable. It was so, so good. And, I've just grown so much in my coaching and in my business and these retreat experiences. And it was another like, what is happening? I rented this beautiful, sprawling mid-century ranch in Palm Springs with a beautiful pool and a hot tub and just gorgeous rooms and a layout that just was so conducive to everything that I wanted to do. And witnessing my clients expand their comfort zones on a hike to Joshua Tree. And, it was really hard for some of them and they overcame that. And then, they were hurting, there were some difficult moments. And then afterwards they were just like, no matter what, I felt like a fucking badass. Like, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm holding space for is I'm holding space for you, the listener, and whatever you do with me, whether you just listen to the podcast or you join me in a coaching program or come with me on a retreat. I want to be there for you to expand your comfort zone and hold you through that. And then see you on the other side and see how proud of yourself and how far you've come. That is my favorite thing to do. I love working with people on that deep level of they're saying yes to something. They know it's going to be a challenge and they don't let that stop them and they work through that challenge. And then the other side of that, they're like, I did that. And I'm like, yeah, you did. You fucking did. And it just lights me up. It makes me want to cry. It's just such an honor to witness and be a part of that journey for people. And I just don't think I'll ever stop. So that's the big update from the wedding and the retreat. But there were a lot of big wisdoms from this retreat. So one thing that comes up, and whenever you step outside of your comfort zone, you will notice all of your attachments to things. Okay. So as we're getting ready for the retreat, there was some, like a little bit of over drinking in preparation to being, not having any alcohol. So you don't have to claim sobriety to come to my retreats, but it is an alcohol-free retreat. So I say no drinking, the day before, the day of travel, all through the retreat, obviously, or the day that you leave, because we want you to be super clear and present and not have to be navigating like, oh, I'm hungover. Oh, it's been a long, long time before I've had any break with alcohol. Like we want to. And I've been working with these women on a very deep level leading up to their retreat. So they've all experienced multiple days and, periods of time without drinking. So they were good. But there was some incidences of, oh, I'm going to not have it. And so I'm going to get it in now before I'm not going to have it. Okay. So I think that resonates with a lot of people. Like we do this a lot of times around dieting and we say, oh, I'm starting this diet or this fitness program, so I got to get it all in now. And they overdo it, and then it sucks, right? Like they don't feel good. And so then they don't get even more clarity and more of that feeling good energy before the thing starts. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and just let you know that that's normal, right? Like that's sort of like you're going to be missing something, or you're going to be lacking something, you're going to feel deprived. And so we preload the thing that we're not going to do that is often not good for us, right? So if that's food or alcohol, obviously we're here talking about alcohol. So that's what it is for most of my clients. But I just want to challenge that idea a little bit here is like, if you hear yourself saying that, oh, I just got to get it in now, or I'm not going to have any next week starting on Monday, or, all this sort of like on this day, I'm going to start, and you decide to just go all in on your drinking or whatever before that day in the future is, just check yourself, because you drinking more today or in this time period before that thing happens or starts isn't going to help you feel any less deprived than you might feel during the time where you're taking a break. Okay. Like it doesn't work like that. You're still going to have to move through discomforts and work through your urges and, not have it. And so you drinking more in advance of that honestly just makes that experience harder, because you'll even be more deprived because you've been used to this alcohol load now, and then you have to get that out of your system, and it's just a longer process. So if you hear yourself saying that to yourself, just be like, I'm going to question that thought, brain. Thank you. And I don't need to overdo it today because I'm not going to have it next week. Like that's not going to help me. It's not going to make the discomfort of not having it any less. It'll just make me more uncomfortable now. It'll make me more uncomfortable tomorrow. So can I just stick to my plan? Can I just follow through so I can get there and actually have less discomfort around it if I don't listen to this, chatter that I'm having that I should drink all the things now before I take a break? Okay. It actually makes it worse, because the more you answer those calls, the more you give in to that brain chatter, those in the moment decisions, right? And that sort of neediness around it. It just feeds that loop and makes that loop stronger. So when you do have a break or you are going without, it's going to make it harder because you're used to answering that call when you have those urges. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to talk about that as well. It's normal. It's, there's nothing wrong with you if you've done it. I've certainly done it before, but just be aware of it going forward. The other thing that has been really helpful in the post-retreat discussions is, we don't have alcohol on the retreat, or maybe you have, you're taking a break from alcohol and you want to introduce drinking again, or, you only plan to go a week without alcohol and you're going to make a drink plan after that. And you want to, be thoughtful and mindful around your alcohol consumption. And I was working with one of my amazing clients today, actually, on having like a drink plan guideline. And if you struggle with making a drink plan, this could be super helpful. If you feel anxious or, uncertain or stressed about deciding when you're going to drink ahead of time, making a guideline for yourself to help you navigate those decisions can be super helpful. So if you're making a drink plan, say you're not going to drink Monday through Thursday, and on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you want to put drinks on your plan. So a guideline to those drinks would be, ask myself how I want to feel tomorrow, right? So we don't want to make a plan to drink based on how you might feel in the moment you're having those drinks. So I want to dissect that a little bit. You don't want to make a decision based on an urgy mindset or desires that you will have in the moment, right? So a lot of times people will say, I will probably want more. I only want to put 4 on my plan or I don't want to put 2 on my plan because I know I'll want 4. That's not how you want to make your drink plan. You want to make your drink plan based on your goals and your ideal relationship with alcohol. You don't want to make that decision based on how you think you'll feel and the desires that you'll have for alcohol in the moment, right? Because then that doesn't stretch yourself. If you're like, I know I'm going to want 4, and you put 4 in your plan and you have 4, yeah. So you're just kind of feeding the same loops there. You're not expanding your comfort zone, and drinking 4 glasses of wine after it being off of it for a while is going to make you feel like shit, right? So you want to think about, I am deciding what I want. I am deciding with my drink plan now that 2 will be enough because that's what I'm deciding. Yes, will I want more after 2? Probably, but I'll have to work through that. But I'm not going to make my decision, my drink plan, based on the idea that I'll probably want more. Okay, that would be like an up level to making your drink plan. The other thing you can look at is like a drink plan guide. You probably know, if you've been at this work for a while, is like, I know what your sticky points are. You know what your sticky points are, right? So like, are you know now you probably are using alcohol for a reward, or if it's been a few days without drinks and you tend to overdo it, like what are your patterns, right? So it's great for you to identify some of those sticky points along your patterns and put this in sort of your guidelines. So a question in your guideline could be, am I using alcohol as a reward after a break, or being ultra productive? And if you're putting drinks on your plan, if you can honestly answer yes to that, yes, okay, then can I reward myself with something else? We want to get away from using alcohol as a reward, because then we can't ever do anything awesome without needing a drink. Okay. And there's so many other ways to reward ourselves. So I just wanted to put that idea out there. Coach Steph does this really well. She still maintains alcohol in her life, and there's guidelines that she checks in. Am I going to be wanting to have intimate conversations with people? Do I have to drive? Do I have to wake up early in the morning? Like, she thinks through all these kind of things. Like, if I'm in, and I'm paraphrasing Coach Steph, we should probably have you on to talk about this. But if she says, if I'm going to be in a situation where it feels stressful, or maybe there's a family member involved or something that she's going to be in presence with, she will decide not to drink because she knows that is going to make it harder for her to stop, or it's just not good for her to drink in that situation, right? So she doesn't, if she's like having a family event or something like that, she'll look at her guidelines and be like, oh, is so-and-so going to be there? I'm going to feel stressed or tired or exhausted by doing these things, and she won't put it on there. So I guess the idea is like to know your trigger zones and where you're a little bit more precarious, and decide how alcohol fits into those situations while you're making your drink plan, and let your drink plan be formed on what is good for you and what your goals are versus what you think you might want in the moment. Okay. And then one more thing, maybe a couple. One more thing. We were at the retreat and we were going to this night market. It was this awesome like night market in Palm Springs because it's so hot there. So they have this really awesome like multiple block vendor market that I wanted to take everybody to. And we were walking along and I smelled coffee, and I was like, ooh, coffee. Oh my God, that would be so good right now. Wouldn't coffee be so great? And we're like, yeah. And so then we walk over to the coffee place, and one of the attendees is local, and she's like, oh, this is the coffee. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they had samples, and they had like, you could order a cup of coffee. And I was like, oh. And then immediately it's like, no, drinking coffee at 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. isn't good for me because I'll be up all night, right? And so the decision was made, right? So I noticed I wanted the coffee. There's an urge for the coffee. It smells good. You guys can smell it, right? Just that fresh coffee smell. And it comes out unexpectedly, and you're like, ooh, yeah, I want it. Well, I'm like, no, drinking coffee right now is going to interrupt my sleep, and I need to sleep, right? And so there was no coffee. I sat with the desire, and then that thought, no, coffee isn't good for me right now. I need to sleep, interrupted the automatic pattern of me getting the coffee. And then I shared that with the group. I was like, you guys, what if, we were walking by and there was like margaritas being blended on the street, or there was a wine bar and like all these beautiful wines or mocktail or cocktails were on display, and you're like, ooh, a drink looks good right now. Right? Like that's what it sounds like in your head. Ooh, a glass of wine would be good right now. Ooh, a margarita would be great right now. Instead of following that thought, the idea is just like, no, alcohol's not good for me because it's going to interrupt my sleep. Right? Like use that same thing that you have in other areas of your life and apply it to the alcohol thing. I'm like, why don't we do this with alcohol? Right? We'll do it for coffee. We might do it for ice cream. We might do it for a late night snack. Oh, that's not going to make me feel good, so I'm not going to do it. But we know alcohol doesn't make us feel good, but we still do it. We convince ourselves. That's the addiction. That's the attachment, right? Is that you're like, oh, that would be so good right now. It's not planned. You know you're responding to like a stimulus, right? Something that's kind of flashing at you, or a smell, or a scenario where it wasn't on your mind. And then you're like, ooh, a glass of wine would be great right now. And we follow that all the way through and have the glass of wine, or more, usually more if it's unplanned, because it's, you're responding to urges, right? Like, why don't we do that with alcohol? Like we do with coffee or ice cream or other things that may not be good for us. Like, I don't want to spend hours scrolling on my phone at night because I don't feel good, right? So I stop myself from doing that. I don't want to eat late at night or eat a bunch of crap before I go to bed because I don't want to be bloated and puffy in the morning. I don't drink anymore, so I know that. Like, I don't drink because it doesn't make me feel good. It interrupts my sleep, makes me puffy, makes me irritable, makes me depressed and anxious, like all those things, right? So I want to offer this to you. Is there a hard boundary you have with certain things because of how it makes you feel, or it's not something you want to do? One of my clients was like, yeah, I will not drink before I fly. So like, I will not drink the night before I fly because sleeping is so important to me. If I drink before I fly, then, I'll be up every hour panicking that I'm going to oversleep, right? And not sleeping well and being sweaty and all those things, right? So that's an easy one for her. So what is it for you? Think about the things that you're like, no, I don't do that because of this physical outcome. And can you apply that same mentality to not making a decision around alcohol that's not good for you? And just recognize what happens in your brain when that offer is made, right? Oh, a glass of wine would be good right now, or this drink. And then you play it through. Like, how is that going to make me feel? Is this going to add to my energy tomorrow? Is it going to make me feel good about myself in the morning? Or I'm going to wake up, groggy and tired and not having a lot of sleep, right? So I thought that was really interesting. And then the last thing I'll end you all with is just reiterating this support. So when you put yourself in a group of people, I love working with women. When you put yourself in a group of women who are really focused on changing their relationship with alcohol and are really dedicated to that, there's such a power and an energy in that group. The retreat group, some of them had met each other on different retreats of mine. I've been working with everybody there privately. And it was just this beautiful experience of having people in a group that you don't have baggage with, that don't know you outside of this stuff. And so your vulnerability can be much higher. You are willing to share your stuff with people without any worries about like what they're going to think about you, and they're going to talk to other people about it, and they understand it all because everybody is going through their own stuff, big deep stuff. And when we share that together, you just feel so much less alone, and there's so much more accountability, and you feel comfortable and you can let your guard down. It is a beautiful, beautiful experience. There's some very strong connections that are made, and there's nothing quite like it. Like I was sharing with them, like even when I go on retreats, I'm not inviting all my friends to go on these retreats with me because like when I'm a guest on a retreat per se, I'm not inviting all my friends on that retreat because that would block me from fully exposing my vulnerabilities, fully sharing some deep stuff that I need to work through. And being around strangers, sometimes that is a lot easier to do, to just let it all be. And you can just, get the help that you need to get help with. And I just want to encourage you all to find a group like that. Either it's with me or it's in your own community, but it's really important to find a group of people that are all on the same journey and want to do the deeper work, who want to share the deep stuff, and get the help that they need to live the biggest alive AF lives that they possibly can. Every single person that came on this retreat has expanded their comfort zones, are now implementing things from the retreat, working through things, buying themselves flowers. We're sharing all of this stuff together, and it's just remarkable. And I'm super proud of them. And you can be that too. You can give yourself an opportunity like that to do something that is meaningful, deeply connected. You get to see how you can have fun without drinking. Let yourself be seen, be vulnerable, and grow and expand to live a life that means something to yourself, right? A lot of times we get into these places with our lives, taking care of all the people and working and climbing the corporate ladder. We have lost track of who we are and what feels right for us. And so giving yourself an opportunity to reset and recharge and connect and get clear without the alcohol in the way is super, super important. So I don't have any more retreats planned at the moment, but there will be more next year in 2026. So if you're interested in following along or signing up for the next one, you'll know if you're on my email list, and you can always check out angelamascenik.com/retreats. But in the meantime, I want you to sign up for The Pivot. That's my 4-day free coaching event that starts next week on June 2nd. It's Monday through Thursday. And there will be multiple sessions, live sessions. We've got one on Monday night, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, and 1 on Thursday. So no matter what time zone you're in, what your work schedule is, there should be a session that you can attend live and get live coaching from me. So go to angelamascenik.com/the pivot and sign up. It's free. You'll get all the information you need right away as soon as you sign up. And I'm going to coach as many people as possible to help you pivot where you are in your relationship with alcohol right now, so you can get clear on the path you need to be on instead of being stuck on the one that you currently are. And then I'm going to tell you about how you can work with me. And I've got some really fun, exciting surprises that I have not revealed yet. So make sure that you join the Pivot so you can be the first people to hear about that. And we can keep this party going inside a really awesome container with ongoing support that's going to be awesome. So angelamascenik.com/the pivot. And I want to leave you with a little belief. I want you to believe in yourselves. I want you to believe that there's this magical energy out there that wants to support you. This is what I believe about spirituality and all of that fun stuff. I believe that there's magic around us all the time. I have this magic necklace on that I never take off unless I'm getting a massage. And I believe that we can tap into this magical universal energy anytime we need help. And it's always there for us. And it's available to everybody, no matter what is happening or what they've done. And it's all higher good. It's all good stuff. So you can't use it for bad. Okay, it's always just good stuff. And when you learn how to tap into that, you get to be put on a path of great, amazing, magical, wondrous things. And I want you to think about what you believe in, and however you ask for help, however you turn over something and into something bigger than yourself. If you're not religious, if you're not super spiritual, would you be open to believing in a little bit of magic with me? And if you are, I want you to believe that there is something happening that you can have access to if you start being aware. I first learned of this sort of universal energy, 7 years ago. I was not super spiritual or religious or anything. And I really don't even call myself that. I just believe in magic. I just believe in this magical force that surrounds the earth that you can tap into. And once I started believing in something bigger than myself, literally the magic started happening. And I could not see it. And it happens all the time. And it's super fun. And I want you to believe that there's something out there that's helping you right now achieve what you want to achieve in your life and to live your life's biggest potential. And if you can believe in that for a minute and maybe start looking for those signs of those things, this could be one of them. This podcast, this episode right now could be one of those things. Feel it, see it, look for it, and join me in the pivot so you can get more of it. All right, my friends, I love you all. Thank you for listening. And I can't wait to talk to you all next week. Okay, bye for now.